Officially in camp. Today was a reporting date for position players after the team's pitchers and catchers came in last week. First workout could be tomorrow. Veteran Christian Yelich has been in Arizona for a bit, even before the team was due to report. He's entering his ninth year with the club and a part of the most successful stretch in team history. They've made the playoffs every year, but have won 5 NL Central titles, including the last 3. They're not favored to win it this year, like they were the past couple seasons. Yelich says it doesn't matter.
We just don't care. It's the same story every year. It's like I said, just because they say you're going to be bad or just because they say you're going to be good, like you still have to play the game and play the 6-month season. And it just comes with that. When all that settles, you kind of find out what kind of season you were. So we kind of ignore it and walk it out. And it's kind of there's as usual every single season. It's kind of the same story. So go out and play and see where we're at.
The full team now in Phoenix. They'll be on the field tomorrow. First workout spring training opener coming up on Saturday.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up, and support starts with all of us, at home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Well, Wisconsin's back in the national rankings for the first time in months. The AP poll came out this morning, has Badgers at number 24. That comes after they beat number 8 Illinois on the road and crushed number 10 Michigan State at home last week. Wisconsin, one of 6 Big Ten teams in the poll, including Michigan rising up to number 1 for the first time since 2023. Wolverines' lone loss came to the Badgers. Wisconsin going to be at Ohio State tomorrow night. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Rebound, Wisconsin. It's going to be a long Friday night here in Madtown.
Here comes the students, Jason. Well, first of all, that was a good old-fashioned ass kicking.
Extremely proud of our group, not just tonight, but how this group has grown and continued to mature and bond together and get better. And obviously we played exceptionally well tonight.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Nice compilation of sounds from Friday night's game, Wisconsin beating number 10 Michigan State and storming the court, which is cool, which is fine. There's always angry people on Facebook and Twitter. But as I told Bill earlier today, who cares? Just get off the internet. That's been a theme of mine today. Some of the things we discussed on Bill's show, 10 to 2, is some of the topics that are swirling around in the sports world today. It's like most of these topics don't exist. And most of the topics that don't or shouldn't exist only exist because of the internet. Get off the should they have stormed the court? They're kids. They knocked off 10 Michigan State at home. Yeah, they stormed the court. It was an awesome win. And comes just days removed after a massive road win at Illinois. And I remember Badger Vibes Tracker called in because people call the show using their Twitter monikers names, which I think is hilarious, saying after the Illinois win, if you remember, maybe you heard this call last week, said there's nobody happier in America right now at Wisconsin beating Illinois than Tom Izzo, because he knows he's going to get him at possibly a better time. I always love in college basketball when my team can see an opponent just after they got a big, huge emotional win. And I think Wisconsin played better at home against Michigan State than they did on the road against Illinois. Wisconsin vaulting up into the top 25 today. They're 24th in the AP. I don't know about the coaches or the power index or Ken Palm. Just the AP. That's just what we're going to use as a gauge. That's the only authority I recognize on this show. Or the only authority that I took the time to look up today. So that's where we will begin. We'll begin with the Badgers and some other things that I want to hit. A lot of drips and drabs over the weekend. Little Olympics, little NBA All-Star festivities, Daytona, if that's your thing. I think there's one thing that I'm missing, but Olympic hockey, which I almost set aside from the Olympics because that kind of feels like a sport that I actually really enjoy following, even though I know very little about it. So little dribs and drabs. Also, Chris Sims said some things about Jordan Love on Friday that I think is interesting, and that's worth discussing. So we'll get to all of that throughout the show, and we'll get to your phone calls as well. I'll go to the phones right after our opening segment. I would imagine a lot of you will be excited to talk Badgers basketball. That's where I want to begin. If you go back, and because I'm not organized here, or because I'm forgetful, or because I was lazy, I didn't pull up the schedule in front of me here. But if you go back to early in the season, and we talked about a lot of these games, I remember because we We talk a lot of college basketball on the show, more this time of year, less maybe when the Packers are going. But if you go back to earlier in the year when they lost at BYU and they got smoked, that was right before Thanksgiving, or the loss to TCU, which wasn't very pretty, or getting blasted by Nebraska, losing in overtime, very frustrating loss to Villanova, getting popped pretty good by Purdue, really frustrating loss to USC, right? But especially, let's say, New Year's and before, they had 3 or 4 losses in there where we're like, man, is this team just not good? This team might just not be very good. Maybe Rapp and Rhodey, some of the additions, maybe they're just not all that. And maybe Boyd is good, but maybe he's not a force multiplier. Or maybe he doesn't fit in the way that they were hoping or the way that they wanted. Like maybe this year it's just not going to happen. Maybe Blackwell and Winter aren't quite good enough with Tanjay removed and, losses to some of the seniors like McGee, who was really important, and Klesmet, who played a ton of games and was really important. Maybe this team just isn't as good as we thought. It's kind of the discussions we were having earlier on in the year. But if you were holding out hope, and we obviously all were because we're fans, and man, I want a good college basketball team to talk about once football season is over and before we get to baseball, like that's what this portion of the sports calendar, at least on a sports talk radio show based in Madison, that's what this portion of the calendar should be reserved for. College basketball. Like this team should be good, and we held out hope. And remember some of the arguments, or maybe it was cope. Maybe some of the things that we were telling ourselves, some of the things we were saying about this team to cope and to hold out hope. We were saying, well, a lot of new faces, take some time to come together. And in this era of college basketball, right, the offense hits for the Badgers right away. We have experience with this the last year or two. The offense clicks right away. This is an offensive-centered program now. The offense hits right away. It hit right away last year, and the defense took a little time. You go back 2 years ago, that was also the case. The offense hit right away this year. I mean, they're scoring in the 90s and the 80s. I'm looking at their early schedule. They put 104 on Providence. They were scoring. And the thought was, well, maybe it just needs a little time. Maybe they need some time to gel. They need some time to get their arms around defense because defense is more communicative. I'm relying on you to be where you're supposed to be. You're relying on the other guy to pick up that man if you turn him loose, right? Like defense it's a weak link system. It only takes one weak point. It only takes one failure for it all to come crashing down. And in sports, college basketball coaches will say this. Heck, I remember little dribblers when I was little, and I was a terrible basketball player, but in middle school and, traveling weekend league, I forced my parents to schlep me all over the state to play on Saturdays in games that I sucked at and was never any good. Coaches always say, the defense is always wrong. The defender's always wrong because you're always trying to predict. You're guessing. You're reacting. So I remember earlier on in the year, we're trying to, think and we're trying to cope and say, well, maybe the defense just needs a little time. Maybe they need some time to gel. And after watching this win over Michigan, it's about 10 days ago now, or a month and 10 days ago. That was January 10th. Not February 10th. 10 days ago, beating Illinois on the road, 2 top 10 road wins, and now popping number 10 Michigan State at home. I think some of those early season hopes, some of those things that we were holding on to, maybe lying to ourselves a little bit, definitely coping a little bit. I think a lot of those realities were true. I think they may have just needed some time to figure out the defense, and I think they just needed some time to gel a little bit, and I hypothesized this about a month ago. And this is what I said after the Michigan win, which was their first big win. It kind of felt like that's where we were maybe starting to see some signs of life with this team. When they beat Michigan, my hope and my thought was, okay, this is the thing that's going to get everybody to lock in. This is the win that'll give a little bit of a shot in the arm to everybody. This is the win that'll make everybody think, all right, we can get our arms around this thing. I was thinking about this before the show started. I did a puzzle yesterday, because I went outside for a walk and we had the Olympics on and we were just lounging around. Puzzles, great mindless activity if you're watching sports. I do like doing puzzles. A Great Lakes puzzle, pretty bitchin' puzzle, okay? And as we're starting a puzzle, it seems so hopeless. Like we're never gonna be able to. There's 500 pieces. There's a bajillion blue ones. They all look the same. There's a bajillion yellow ones. How are we ever gonna figure out? It seems so hopeless at the beginning, right? It's overwhelming. It's a brand new project, a big-ass puzzle, a project that you're undertaking. But once you get the frame into place, because you should do the edge pieces first, that's a proper way to do a puzzle. And once you kind of get, I remember growing up, we had a big Lion King puzzle, big Pride Rock. I wonder if my parents still have it. I should ask. Well, once you figure out, okay, so here's the pond. We have all the blue pieces here, and we have the edge pieces, the framework's in place. And okay, down here's the grass. We can see those are where the green pieces go. And maybe there's some letters, and we got like the Lion King. We got that part built. Well, now that we have our arms around this and that, now it doesn't feel so hopeless. Now it feels like we have our footing. Now we can go to work on the rest of the puzzle, and you get a little shot in the arm. I think that's maybe what the Michigan game was. They were pushing and they were slogging and they were trying to figure out the defense, and it was happening little by little. Maybe it didn't feel like it. They were pushing and slogging and probably building chemistry on offense, and especially Austin Rapp was trying to find his place on this team, struggled and was injured early. Bielauskis is young, trying to figure out the physicality of the Big Ten. Boyd, for as good as he's been, probably figuring out ways to fit with Blackwell and ways to, adjust to the Big Ten, although great player, but new environment, new team, new system, new everything. I think that Michigan win was akin to, finishing the framework pieces, getting a couple of things in place. I think that maybe re-energized and refocused a lot of these guys. And since then, a little over a month since that Michigan win, you're seeing some of the fruits of that refocusing, of that re-energizing. I typically don't like player press conferences or player interviews. I don't think they're that interesting. I don't think you learn a whole lot. But this afternoon, we didn't play this on Bill's show. We played Greg Gard on Bill's show earlier today, but I didn't listen to Boyd, Blackwell, and Winter. They were all at the table on Friday night. And Zach does such a good job getting this audio to all of our shows. And I was just listening to some of their answers, and it's not necessarily what they're saying, although I actually thought it was a pretty interesting press conference. Most player interviews I don't find interesting. I thought this press conference was pretty interesting. It's not necessarily what they're saying. It's what they're choosing to talk about. Like if Mike McCleary or Zach Heilprin or Nick Osen or any of the beat guys downtown at the Kohl's Center ask a big picture question. Hey, so-and-so, another big win. How does it feel? Very wide open question. A player can take that in a million different directions. Sometimes a player will give a boring answer. Well, it's this is why I came to Madison, and this is why I wanted to play in Big Ten games. Okay, cool, but not really an answer that gives us much meat and potatoes. Some of these questions are wide-ranging, and a player chooses to say, we've been working really hard at this. It's like, oh, okay. So I clipped a couple of answers, and it's clear that defense, physicality, like the things that we've hoped they're working on, things that we were hoping and coping, like maybe they're just trying to figure out. When I listen to these guys talk, it starts to become clear, like, yeah, I think that's what was happening. I think we had this thing clocked. So here's John Blackwell. This is one of the first questions and answers, just kind of asked about the game. Nothing overly specific in the question, not a leading question, because, reporters sometimes will ask about something because they're working on a story and they need comment from a player. This is just John Blackwell. What do you think about the win?
I think, we keyed on defense. I think that was going to be today. It wasn't going to be hitting threes. It wasn't going to be our skill. It was just going to be our defense. Just being locked in defensively, being physical, and then sticking to our plan. We had a good plan for today. They're a good team. But I think we did a great job on containing their best players and honestly just shutting off their offense.
First thing out of his mouth. We thought it was going to be the defense that wins this thing.
I think, we keyed on defense.
Which is interesting because they scored 92 points and shot the piss out of the basketball. They shot the daylights out of the basketball. Pardon my lewd language. But the first comment from John Blackwell.
I think, we keyed on defense.
Keyed on defense. Okay, so maybe they are starting to figure out this defensive thing. Maybe that has been a work in progress. Maybe that was something that was letting them down a little bit earlier in the year. Here's Nick Boyd asked about big wins. What does this mean to you? Again, not a specific driving question. You came to the Big Ten because you said you wanted to play in games like this. So what do wins like this mean to you? That was about the spirit of this question. Here's Nick Boyd.
It's just a blessing. Just coming from where I came from, my journey, in college, man, as it wraps up, it's just crazy, man. And like I said, I feel like we got a team that, could do some special things, and, we still striving. And, the beautiful thing about this team right now is like, we got ways to go on defense, being connected and really shutting teams' water off. So, we keep putting this offensive output and keep tightening up that defense. Who knows?
So again, early in the season, my biggest complaint in some of those losses, the BYU loss, and again, I have the schedule here in front of me. They all start to run together. The BYU loss, the Nebraska loss, certainly. The Purdue loss, it just seemed at times like, are you guys really locked in? Are you guys really, like, they just, like, that was my biggest complaint. Remember we talked about this? It's like, I understand if the shots aren't falling, but on defense and rebound, like, you guys don't look locked in. And I think early on in the season, they were overwhelmed a little bit. It's like when you start a puzzle and you're looking at a mountain of 500 pieces, you're like, holy how do we get our arms around the thing? And I think they were a little overwhelmed. You get that big win, you start to get some refocus and some re-energizing. And you can see, I mean, again, Nick Boyd goes right to the defense. It's the first thing that he kind of talks about is they have a long way to go.
We got ways to go on defense in terms of being connected and really shutting teams' water off. So, we keep putting this offensive output and keep tightening up that defense. Who knows?
One more soundbite that I cut that I'll play for you here. And the question is in here. This is a question for Nolan Winter, asked about some freshmen adjusting to the physicality in the Big Ten. Other forwards like Rapp, I believe, and Bielauskas were the two players that were. Well, I think I left the question in here. Let's just listen to it.
Nolan, you know obviously what it's like to have to adjust to Big Ten play, especially in the front court as a young forward. Can you just speak to the growth and some of the work that Alexis and Austin have put into to be able to do what they've done over these last couple of games?
Yeah, it's been awesome to see both of them grow. Obviously, like you said, Big Ten's a physical conference. As myself as a freshman, get thrown around a little bit. It takes a little bit of time to really find your footing, and to see both of their confidences just really grow throughout these last couple games and just throughout the whole season. It's been awesome to see as a fellow, front court mate of theirs. So, and it's on me a little bit to help them and just kind of guide them through what's ahead of us through the season and what the Big Ten schedule is really all about. But, credit to them. It's been awesome to see them both just put their head down, keep working, and just get a lot better for this team.
This game had a little bit of everything, including if you have your college bingo card, your Big Ten bingo card at home. We do have a continuation in the bromance between Greg Gard and Tom Izzo. I do have to play this question and answer, just obligatory. Anytime Izzo and Gard match up and get to have a little play date when their teams play each other, I do feel obliged to share this audio.
Kind of looking big picture, Greg spoke really glowingly about you guys, Wisconsin, Purdue being three schools that stayed consistent in terms of staying true to who you are. Kind of how have you seen that kind of play out with these three schools?
Well, that's why you see so much respect with the staffs on all of them, because I think we all are trying to do it in this crazy times. I think Greg's done a great job here. I don't think he gets enough credit. They lost a couple tough games early, but he's been as consistent and steady as anybody. I came here to speak last year to this cancer deal, and I was so impressed by the people and everything, and he appreciate him. Sometimes I in the league get more credit. Sometimes Paint does. I don't think Greg gets enough credit for what he's done. So my word to you guys that are Badgers, appreciate him. He's adjusted a little bit. He's tried some different things, and he did a hell of a job tonight. I mean, they outplayed us in every aspect of the game.
So there you go. You can't have a Wisconsin-Michigan State matchup without a Tom Izzo little love letter to Greg Gard, because those two love each other. So I do need to share that before we take our first break. You have any thoughts on Wisconsin-Michigan State? We will continue after a very short break with your phone calls at 608-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. Cisco Sports Show. We will be in one minute. Cisco Sports Show. We will be in 30.
My favorite guard, one of my favorite guards in the league, didn't even play half the first half. I don't know what he ended up with, but, Blackwell gets 24 and he probably plays about 8 minutes in the first half, if that. I don't know.
Okay, that's the last space on the Wisconsin-Michigan State bingo card. The free space is Greg Gard, Tom Izzo, bromance. Tom Izzo talking about how Greg Gard's just done such a great job, and his program, my program, we're doing it the right way. We've been the same. And I think Purdue is a part of that little club as well. I think Matt Painter, Tom Izzo, Greg Gard fancy themselves somewhat of a Big Ten little elite club because they've been doing it the same way and they haven't, had big turnover. Although the funny thing is Wisconsin has adapted quite a bit. I think programs have needed to adapt in this era of college basketball, but Wisconsin's changed quite a bit. The thing is, the difference there is they haven't changed coaches. A lot of the same faces and names are still there. Greg Gard isn't Bo Ryan, but he was there long before they ever changed to this, offensive style program that they are now. So that's the free space, is Tom Izzo complimenting Greg Gard. Maybe like B2, the space on the upper left of the bingo card, is Tom Izzo talking about how much he loves John Blackwell and how pissed he is he didn't recruit him. Which, at a certain point, is almost funny. Like, if I was one of the guards on Michigan State's roster, if I was a Michigan State fan, it's like, hey man, do you ever shut up about how much you like the opposing coach or the opposing point guard? We got wide open phone lines. If you want to jump in, I won't make you wait to talk about Wisconsin, Michigan State. Now the third top 10 victory Wisconsin has notched. Now this one was at home, so how impressive was it really? But now they're at Ohio State tomorrow night, a home game against Iowa on Sunday. There's not a juggernaut remaining on their schedule until their regular season finale at Purdue on March 7th. And my opening segment, if you've tuned in since, and if you didn't hear the first couple of minutes of the show, I think what we are realizing, or what I believe we're realizing, you can perceive these recent big wins any way that you want. But what I think I'm seeing and what I think we've learned is that we were maybe right in some of our hopes early in the season. I was hoping that it would just take some time to get the defense figured out, which is a reasonable hope, by the way. It's not an insane idea in this version of college basketball. And I think in perpetuity now, as long as Greg Gard is here and they're operating this way as a program, in perpetuity, we just need to put a reminder in our calendar in November and in December. It's early. Half the roster is new. They prioritize offense. Just be patient with the defense. Now, if the offense sucks right away, well, then the team might just not be very good. But with all the turnover they've had on the roster, and that's just a product of the current state of the game, but especially with this roster, they lost McGee, Klesmit, Tanjay. I think there's probably another senior that Crowell, clear. Yeah, I was just thinking backcourt, but Crowell too. Like, they lost some stalwarts. Now, Nolan Winter and John Blackwell have been there, but now in forward-facing roles. That takes some time. Nick Boyd comes in and has played a ton of basketball and has played basketball at a high level, but now in a new environment, new system, new teammates. That takes some time. And what is Wisconsin prioritizing? Which sounds insane. I would love my grandpa to come back to life so I could tell him what's happening. It's like, yeah, actually, grandpa, they're focused on offense now. And he'd tip right back over. That would be it. I think his heart would blow if I told him that. But they prioritize offense now. Love you, grandpa. Mean it. Rest in peace. They prioritize offense now. And the defense takes a little time. And defense should take time, even if a team doesn't have a crazy amount of turnover, even if there's relative roster consistency. And I don't even know what that looks like in college. Well, I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like Shaka Smart, and that team blows. That's what it looks like. It looks like Marquette. So even when you have teams without a lot of turnover and you're not bringing in new talent, new life through the transfer portal, even when there is a lot of consistency, defense still takes time. That trust and that connection that's necessary for defense in a way that it's not always for offense, that takes time. I wish that the BYU matchup was in February instead of November. I wish maybe the Nebraska game was 4 weeks later. I wish you could flip the Nebraska game and the Rutgers game, for example. Like I look back at the beginning of the season and think, well, now I'd like to see this version of the team now that they've had some time to gel and some time to really, I think, energize and lock in and get a couple of big wins under their belt. I'd love to see what this Wisconsin team could do out in Provo in that same matchup now. I'd like to see how it looks different, or Nebraska too, although Nebraska's really good. Like that win is, or that loss, I should say, has aged well. Not necessarily the margin of defeat. They lost by 30. But again, I think that team early on in some of those blowouts was a team that was so overwhelmed. And the analogy that I used in our opening segment was when you do a puzzle, when you dump all the pieces on the table and you're like, we're never gonna do. Look at all the blue pieces. You can't tell any of them apart. And then you get some of the edge pieces in place. You're like, oh, here's the pond. Those are the blue pieces all go in that corner. And we found the letters. Those go over there. Now we start to get our arms around. All right, now we can lock in and we can really get to work. And I think that's what that Michigan win on the road did for this program. I think it was a fresh spark and a kick in the pants in the middle of the season that they were probably making progress and they were probably getting better, but without a big signature win to celebrate together, it's sometimes hard to feel like you're experiencing that progress. And sometimes the feeling, the confidence, sometimes it's just it's a blind feeling. It's not always reflected in results or on tape. So to get those feelings reflected on tape and in a result, I think that's a kick in the pants for a basketball team. And I think we've seen that result really for the last month and 10 days, month and a third since they went to Michigan and won that game. Couple of texts, 608-321-1670. I think the romance is hilarious because I still have a hatred for Michigan State because of the hatred between Tom Izzo and Bo Ryan. Yeah, see, I don't have a great memory of that. I watched a ton of Bo Ryan and I watched all those Michigan State, Wisconsin games back in the day. I was not producing a radio program at the time, so I wasn't pouring through hours and hours of press conference audio. So maybe now I have to go back and reconsider that. AJ in Janesville says, Guard, Izzo, and Painter all followed the footsteps of legends. So they have that in common and never miss an opportunity to bring it up with one another. Yeah, that's funny. I laughed because Zach stopped in here. Zach Halpern, our sports director, he was in the building today, and we were talking a little bit about the game. I said, do you have the Izzo audio from Friday night? And I'm like, did he say all that stuff about Greg Gard on the record, or was that in a scrum? He's like, oh yeah, it's in there. And he's like, it's about the 9-minute mark of the press conference, so I wouldn't cut it. Here, I'll play it one more time for those who missed it in the opening segment. He just can't help himself, man. Izzo cannot help himself when it comes to furthering his bromance with Greg Gard, and good for him.
With the staffs and all of them. Because I think we all are trying to do it in this crazy times. I think Greg's done a great job here. I don't think he gets enough credit. They lost a couple tough games early, but he's been as consistent and steady as anybody. I came here to speak last year to this cancer deal, and I was so impressed by the people and everything, and he appreciate him. Sometimes I in the league get more credit. Sometimes Paint does. I don't think Greg gets enough credit for what he's done. So my word to you guys that are Badgers, appreciate him. He's adjusted a little bit. He's tried some different things, and he did a hell of a job tonight. I mean, they outplayed us in every aspect of the game.
We'll do a Badgers reset at 5:00. So if we have some folks who want to chat Badgers basketball, although these big wins are becoming kind of commonplace, so maybe folks at home are like, yeah, it's just another win. But we'll do a Badgers reset at 5:00. I'll take some of your calls on the team. I want to talk Packers when we come back, but not before. Give a shout out to our presenting sponsor today. That's Road America. And if you go to roadamerica.com, and I'd recommend that you do it because we're about halfway through the month of February. I'm already talking with a buddy. We're making plans for March Madness. I'm talking with my parents about dates for this and that this summer. We got some weddings on the calendar. So, the yearly calendar fills up fast. So go to roadamerica.com and circle the events that you want to attend. Make a point to get over there, or if you live nearby, to get there, depending on where you are in the state of Wisconsin and listening, and make that a part of your summer. Because I know for me growing up, we'd go to the Dells, we'd go to Devil's Lake, we'd get to a Brewer game. Road America is such a gem. And I think for lots of folks in certain corners of the state, it's an underutilized gem, and it's an awesome weekend trip. The camping is phenomenal. And if you like big time events, right, when the Indy cars are there's big time major league badass events. And if you want to attend one of those, look at the calendar, or maybe something centered around vintage cars or something a little bit more low key, just a chance to go up there to see the joint. You don't want to be overwhelmed by crowds and television crew and all that stuff. You have lots of opportunities. Just look through the events calendar and circle what you want to attend. You can buy season passes, you can buy it ahead of time, but at the very least, go to their website, roadamerica.com, and pinpoint the thing that you want to make it over there, the things that you want to make it over there this summer for, so they're in your calendar and it's blocked off, because this time of year things start to fill up fast. Roadamerica.com. We appreciate their sponsorship of the show. Chris Sims said something wild about Jordan Love and Malik Willis on Friday, and I want to react to that as a group next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
No, I think Malik Willis is a superstar, right? I would think he is the crowning gem of guys that's going to be out there as far as free agents that you can get no compensation trading any like that.
Good. That's Chris Sims on the Dan Patrick Show. Good, strong commentary. That'll give us some red meat on Wisconsin Sports Radio this week. This is the Wisco Sports Show. My name is Grant Bills. Wide open phone lines if you want to talk Packers. I saw you commenting on the live stream, you football hardos who thinks we should just do 2 hours of Packers every night. Trust me, if there was 2 hours of Packers news to discuss every night, I probably would. It'd be good for business. But we led with Badgers basketball. We will return to talk more Badgers to begin hour number 2. But if you want to talk Packers, now's the time. 608-321-1670. That, by the way, I have about 2 minutes of Chris Sims. Really all I'd need is this part right here.
I think Malik Willis is a superstar.
It's funny. On Bill's show earlier today, we were reacting to the sound, and he referenced something that Greg Cosell told him on Radio Row. If you caught that interview, it would have been the first hour of the show on Friday. I was like Greg Cosell. Sometimes at Super Bowl, I wish I got to sit and listen to the interviews, but as soon as I get one guest to the table, it's like, all right, now by the time they're done, I better have somebody else over here. So yes, Greg, thank you for doing the show. Sit down right here with Bill. And I'm off and running, even though Greg Cosell's maybe the best in the business. So I went back and listened after the fact. But something that Greg told Bill is we're too fast and loose with the term great. Talk about quarterbacks who are great. You know, in the NBA, it's been said often, we're too heavy-handed with the term superstar, which is probably true. I mean, how many superstars? 2, 3, 4, maybe? You know, and this is an extension of, well, that guy's top 5. Ryan Russillo's banged this drum forever. It's like, well, if he's top 5 and he's top 5, and then, well, that guy's clearly top 5. And, oh, it's playoff time, so Jimmy Butler's top 5. Well, all of a sudden you have about 10 to 12 guys who are top 5. But here's the thing about being top 5 is there's only 5 guys who can be top 5. Otherwise, it's if there's 8 or 10, then it's top 8, top 10. So this is not a new concept, us being heavy-handed and fast and loose with labels across sports. But in the NFL, Greg Cosell's saying, no, we're not too fast and loose with the term franchise quarterback or superstar or MVP or top 5. No, we're too fast and loose with the term star. Which, you know, how many of those guys are in the NFL? Chris Sims taking it one step further. He doesn't think that Malik Willis is a good option for a quarterback hungry team. Oh no, he doesn't think that he's a good rebound for a team. He's not the next Sam Darnold. He's not the next Baker Mayfield. He's not a distressed asset or a bargain in this offseason's marketplace. Oh no, he doesn't stop there.
I think Malik Willis is a superstar.
A superstar. Yes, that's good commentary. So he continues. I'm gonna play you the first half of this cut. We're gonna stop it about halfway through, but I'm gonna give you about a minute and let Chris Sims kind of explain himself here.
No, I think Malik Willis is a superstar, right? I would think he is the crowning gem of guys that's going to be out there as far as free agents that you can get no compensation trading any like that.
Why wouldn't Pittsburgh go for Malik Willis?
If I were them, I'd be looking at that. You're exactly right. I mean, Malik Willis has proven. I mean, he's got special talent. He has a special arm. He's got special mobility. He knows how to run the offense and do all of that. So, yeah, you know, he's a great story here. And again, another story of we looked at the draft and, you know, again, I was a Malik Willis fan coming out. And it was like, okay, yeah, I know Kenny Pickett can play in the pocket and he's very good in the meeting room. And I'm so sick of that damn dumb discussion all the time with some of these quarterbacks. And I'm going to go, oh, yeah, how did that meeting room and in the pocket work for you, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia Raiders? You know, how about the guy that has a ton of talent and can make game-changing plays and just needs a little polish and needs to be coached a little? And that's what.
So it's funny, and I'll pause it there. And Dan Patrick has a great follow-up. So we'll get about a minute more from Chris Sims, who I think does a pretty good job. I never care, by the way. This has nothing to do with Chris Sims. I just never, you know what I don't need in your analysis? And I was a big Malik Willis guy coming out. I don't care. That does not interest me. I think that's so boring where it's 2020 or 2026. I'll just use this year as an example because why would I use another year? That would be confusing. But it's 2026. It's like, oh yeah, back in 2019, I love that player in the draft. Well, write it down in your little draft notebook because I don't care. But Chris Sims leading that bit of commentary with, I think he's a superstar. And then everything he said after that was more like, I think he's going to be a great bargain. And I think he's got great traits. And I think with a little coaching, it's like, well, okay, don't lead with superstar then. That's a little, because nothing you said after that would lead to superstar. Great available option does not equal superstar. Good traits does not equal superstar. He just needs a little coaching does not equal superstar. I was a big fan of him in the draft. That doesn't equal superstar. That's not, so again, a little heavy-handed at the beginning, but I like that. It grabs your attention at the beginning of a soundbite.
I think Malik Willis is a superstar.
Yes, correct. Now, Dan Patrick, who I think is an outstanding interviewer, cuts Chris Sims. I was like, no, wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. And I've done this exact thing to Tony in Texas here.
But wait, do you like Malik Willis more than Jordan Love?
It's closer than I ever thought it would be, right? I'm really a Jordan Love fan. I mean, again, I'm the one that was like, Jordan Love, I think is going to be better than Tua when he was coming out in the draft, right? So I'm with that. But Malik Willis, I'm not going to say he's better than Jordan Love right now. I will.
By the way, if you're calling him a superstar, you need to say he's better than Jordan Love. This is why, again, not to just harp on the superstar. If you are going to start the soundbite with this,
I think Malik Willis is a superstar.
You need to then think he's better than Jordan Love, who I think is good, very good, but not a superstar. Anyways, continue.
I'm not going to say he's better than Jordan Love right now. I will say that I think he shows more potential to be a greater player than Jordan Love. That's what I would say right now. But I got to see a little bit more before I say he's better than Jordan Love.
And that's the part that triggered me when we were talking about this on Bill's show, that final 4 seconds there.
But I got to see a little bit more before I say he's better than Jordan Love.
I got to see a little bit more. Dude, I got to see a lot more. I have to see so much more. Jordan Love, for whatever you think of his shortcomings or his quirks as a player, and I remember after the Lions game on Thanksgiving, I remember talking about the quirks that he has. He's a very quirky player. He's got a lot of traits that don't typically come in the same package. He's got great pocket mobility and great play extension skills, great sack avoidance, but he's not at all mobile. Those two things are not in the same player ever, but in Jordan Love, they are. And that makes it difficult. He sat on the bench for 3 years and followed not just one legend, but two legends in the context of what everyone was saying was they went from Favre to Rodgers. There's no way this next guy's going to be good. Like Jordan Love is just a really quirky, complicated player in a really quirky and complicated context. But whatever you feel about Jordan Love's quirks or his shortcomings, he has taken a team to the playoffs in all 3 years as a starter. This last year statistically was an MVP candidate right up until the final couple of weeks of the season when they got in the Matt LaFleur slide in December where they just said, we're losing and we're not going to win again. And he's been dinged up a little bit, and there's lots of whatever you think of Jordan Love. To say of a backup who's never started an entire season, who's never led a team to any level of success, to say, well, I just need to see a little bit more.
But I got to see a little bit more before I say he's better than Jordan
Dude,
Love.
I need to see like 3 or 4 years more of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, let me ask you, let me put it this way. Let's say Malik Willis goes to Miami, okay? And he plays for Jeff Hafley, which is so plausible, okay? Let's say that he leads the Dolphins, who will have a poor schedule. They'll have a bad schedule because I think they got fourth in their division. They should have got fourth in their division behind the Bills, the Patriots. I guess they'll play a third place schedule because the Jets were worse. He goes to Miami. Let's say he leads the Dolphins to a 9-8, 10-7 season. They're a wild card and they win a playoff game. And then they lose the next week. They play some, maybe overinflated 3 seed or 2 seed in the playoffs. It happens. Malik Willis leads the Dolphins to 9-8, 10-7, and wins a first round game. That will be the best season of Dolphins football this century. And I don't have it off the top of my mind, but I think it's been close to 20 years, if not 20 years, since the Dolphins have won a playoff game. Am I remembering correctly? Malik Willis could go to Miami and in his first year do something that hasn't been done in that city for that team in 20 years and will meet the rookie starter, I guess Jordan Love's first year starting. He will meet that benchmark and nothing more. Doing something that's never been done before in Dolphins history. Let's say he goes to Pittsburgh and he's with Mike McCarthy, which again is very plausible. I remember, if I remember correctly, and again, I don't retain draft priors because I don't care. I really like that guy in the draft. That team really liked. I don't care. The second the draft is done, if he's not on my team, it's out of my brain. It was barely ever in there because I don't care. I don't get that nerdy over the draft. But I seem to remember there being a lot of Malik Willis, Pittsburgh draft buzz. I could go back and look at this, but again, I don't really care that much. But let's say he goes to Pittsburgh, plays with Mike McCarthy and James Campton and that whole outfit there. Let's say they sign Malik Willis and they do the John Schneider, Russell Wilson thing where they draft a guy in the 3rd or 4th round. Let's say the Steelers sign Malik Willis and draft Ty Simpson, which I think would be a great plan, even though I don't think Ty Simpson's any good, but whatever. Sign and draft. And he leads Pittsburgh to a 9-8, 10-7 season, wild card, and let's say they win a playoff game. That will be the best season that Pittsburgh has had since, I believe, 2016 was the last time they won a playoff game. And just in doing that, he will have met the benchmark of Jordan Love's first season starting. The idea that, I think Malik Willis is a superstar, but I just need to see a little bit more. Dude, I need to see like years more. The dude's never been a starter on a competitive team for 1 season, let alone 3. And again, I'm not telling you Jordan Love's perfect, but I guess my message in this topic, in this segment, other than, hey, listen to this thing Chris Sims said, I'm going to play it and turn it into content because that's my job. My message is, Packers fans, no matter how you feel about Jordan Love, can we all admit that he doesn't suck? Because sometimes I feel like I got to come on this show or on Bill's show and remind Packers fans that this guy doesn't suck. He's got some quirks. I think Chris Sims, the point that he made about Malik Willis's mobility and his escapability, I'm not going to act like I'm some quarterback expert, but I am shocked and so impressed watching Malik Willis at the efficiency and the explosiveness with which he can decide it's not there, I'm going to run. When that switch flips in his brain, which, by the way, I don't think is a trait that leads to deep postseason success. There's only one quarterback in NFL history who's ever won a Super Bowl with 100 or more rushes in a season, and it was Jalen Hurts a couple of years ago. Now, Malik Willis could do, I suppose. There's more running quarterbacks than ever before, so that number will probably change at some point. But the duck and chuck quarterbacks, the go through all my possessions and then tuck it and run, those guys don't win at the highest level based off that trait alone, that skill alone. But that is a really impressive trait. He's explosive as a quarterback who decides to tuck it and run. And it's impressive. There are traits there. There are skills there. But kind of some ridiculous commentary from Chris Sims. And I'm happy for it because it's a slow time in the sports calendar. So I'm happy to have any reason to talk Packers at all.
I think Malik Willis is a superstar.
Holy cats. Holy cats. Rick from Spencer says, rewatch the Steelers game, then watch the Ravens game and ask yourself who's got the most upside. I assume, Rick, in that text, you're comparing Jordan Love and Malik Willis. The weird thing about Malik Willis is they didn't win either. They didn't win against Chicago, and they lost in overtime in part because Malik Willis put the ball on the grass. They lost in week 18 last year because Malik Willis fumbled the ball, not seeing pressure coming right in his lap, which is a shortcoming of his. He doesn't always feel the pressure. The pocket pressure isn't great. Now he can run to make up for it, but if he doesn't feel the guy coming, then he can't very well run, can he? Because he gets lit up, and I think he fumbled on that play too. I think Malik Willis has some great traits. And I think a team like the Steelers or the Dolphins would be very smart to sign him and also draft a guy. But it is a little nuts.
I think Malik Willis is a superstar.
All right, you want to hear Doug Gottlieb rant and rave and melt down in a press conference? It was very entertaining. I'll give you some of that audio next. And by the way, we're an hour. I almost said a month away. I don't know why I almost said a month. We're an hour away from the Monday Mailbag. So submit your questions on anything. Grant Bilse, BILSE 21 at gmail.com. I will pop open that mailbag and answer your questions in an hour to wrap up the show at 5:50.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bilse on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Every time we touched them, there was a foul in the second half. The last play of the game, just to get the ball, they were grabbing us and holding us. Okay, and I understand. If you're not calling that, that's fine. You had the exact same play at both ends in the last play of the game. The exact same play. The exact same play. So I need the new commissioner of the Horizon League to explain to me what a technical foul is when I don't leave the box, I don't curse, I'm not demonstrative. Okay, there was nothing that should have been called a technical foul.
Doug Gottlieb the other night after their loss, UW Milwaukee. Very good. Excellent sound. Great rant. I'll give you more here in a sec. A couple of texts coming in. Before we reset the show, we'll get back to Badgers basketball at 5 o'clock. 608-321-1670. Jim in Cottage Grove says, okay, Bill played that same cut 15 times this morning, and you're starting to get right after him. We heard it. Move on. Sorry about that. Well, Jim, I could talk about the NBA All-Star game. But then I'm going to have a lot more people than just you yelling at me for that. This is not exactly a busy time of year. So if Chris Sims gives us, what was the comment? I think Malik Willis is a superstar. We're gonna farm that. We're gonna dig into that a little bit. Also, Bill played it a bunch earlier today because I produce his show and I'm the one back here cutting all the sound. So yeah, that's why you heard it on Bill's show. The same cut on both shows, on both ends.
The exact same play.
The exact same play. Exactly. Do you want Doug's entire rant? It's pretty good. We can stop and pause and react.
I need the league to explain to me why I got a technical foul when I did not curse. I was not demonstrative. I did not leave my box.
Did you curse? Were you demonstrative? Did you leave your box? I love how he came ready for this.
All I said was, that's the same play as the other end. Okay? All we ask is that there's a fair game. That's what we ask. Okay, CJ O'Hara goes and gets an offensive rebound. Their player dives at his legs. CJ gets called for a foul. I need Donnie at the league and the new commissioner to explain to me the disparity in the officiating. That's what I need explained to me. I got no problem with their team, their staff. They played hard. They did what they do. They play tough and they play aggressive. I need somebody to explain to me, okay, how just those two. There's others that I have massive issues with, okay? Others that have matched, including every time we touched them, there was a foul in the second half. The last play of the game, just to get the ball, they're grabbing us and holding us. Okay, and I understand. If you're not calling that, that's fine. You had the exact same play at both ends in the last play of the game.
Say it again.
The exact same play.
Say it again.
The exact same play.
I love the microphone noise as it falls onto the table. Like Bill Belichick pushing the mic at the beginning of his presser.
The exact same play.
The exact same play.
The exact same play.
God, this is great.
So I need the new commissioner of the Horizon League to explain to me what a technical foul is.
It's like he's calling on him in a congressional hearing. Mr. Speaker, I need you to answer for yourself.
The box, I don't curse. I'm not demonstrative. Okay? There was nothing that should have been called a technical foul.
He made that very clear, by the way. He did not curse. He did not leave his box, and he was not demonstrative.
I know when I earned one. I did not earn one. Okay? And the CJ play, we're up 6 points. That dramatically changed the trajectory of the game. He's our best defender. He's one of our best players. He picked up his fourth foul, collecting an offensive rebound when a guy falls into his legs. Okay? All we ever ask is fair. Okay? And I'm not talking about 37-18 in free throw attempts. That's how they play.
Yeah,
they
see here, so a
get.
great rant. And again, I'm going to beat the hell out of
The
this.
exact same play.
Great rant. When a coach says, all we want is for consistency. All we want is for you to call it both ways. All we want is for it to be fair. That's great. That's noble. And Gottlieb is correct. You can't have it because that's basketball, man. Like the officials are human. They can't see every angle of everything. It's fast. It's judgment calls. It's just. So, yes, Mr. Gottlieb, Coach Gottlieb, I agree. You just want fair. You just want it to be called the same way both ways. I understand. I do.
Same play.
Correct. You can't have it. It's never going to happen. You're not going to get it. As long as basketball exists, we are going to have inefficiencies or inequalities on one end of the floor to the other.
Exact same play.
Even on the exact same plays. Yeah, Doug, Jesus. It's just human. So great rant. I was thrilled to see this content over the weekend. And I'm pulling for Doug. He was on Bill's show on Friday. I think he's done a very good job from year one to year two. I always liked his radio show. Meeting him at Super Bowl with Bill, not that it means anything. He's very friendly, very nice guy. So I have nothing against Gottlieb. But that's the part of the rant where you lose me. We just want it called both ways. Well, in basketball, sometimes you're just not going to get it. But great rant. And pulling for UW Green Bay moving forward. Seems like Gottlieb's doing a good job in year two. Let's take a break. We'll reset with some Badgers basketball talk coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, Wisconsin's headed to Ohio today. It's where they're going to take on the Buckeyes tomorrow night. Badgers coming off the best week of the season for potentially any team this year. They got last week underway with a win at number 8 Illinois, then came home on Friday night, blasted number 10 Michigan State at the Kohl Center. Big part of the success, Nick Boyd, the senior, had 25 against the Illini, 29 against the Spartans. But he said those performances just the start of things for this group.
Like I said, I feel like we got a team that could do some special things, and we still striving. And the beautiful thing about this team right now is, like, we got ways to go on defense in terms of being connected and really shutting teams' water off. So, we keep putting this offensive output and keep tightening up that defense. Who knows?
Wisconsin, 18-7 overall, 10-4 in Big Ten play, has them sitting in a tie with Michigan State for 5th in the conference. Tip tomorrow night, slated for 7:30. Turning to the Bucks, they're still off as the All-Star break continues. Yesterday, ESPN released an interview with Giannis Antetokounmpo where he said right now he is committed to the Bucks and that he'll never say he doesn't want to be a Milwaukee Buck, though he admitted he desperately wants another title. Milwaukee will get the second half of the season going on Friday down in New Orleans against the Pelicans.
At a time when children are in crisis, the Kids Mental Health Foundation envisions a future where mental health is a vital part of growing up, and support starts with all of us. At home, at school, at practice, everywhere kids are. The Kids Mental Health Foundation is the leading organization promoting mental health for children in the U.S. and has free tools and information developed by experts.
Having those resources is the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
Check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
Well, the Brewers' full team has reported for spring training down in Arizona. They're going to be holding their first full workout tomorrow and then play their first game coming up on Friday down there in Phoenix. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Rebound, Wisconsin. It's going to be a long Friday night here in Madtown.
Here comes the students, Jason.
Well, first of all, that was a good old-fashioned ass kicking.
Extremely proud of our group, not just tonight, but how this group has grown and continued to mature and bond together and get better. And obviously we played exceptionally well tonight.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
Some sound from Wisconsin's win on Friday night. We can get back into Badgers basketball. I'll take your thoughts on, I don't want to say Malik Willis, Jordan Love, that whole thing. Chris Sims had some strong commentary, so we played it. We've been reacting. And if you have any thoughts on Doug Gottlieb's rant, which I thought was just outstanding work at the podium, and I sound sarcastic, I'm not. I was a big fan. I was very entertained. I love a good coach rant. I need personality and gravitas for my college coaches.
The exact same thing.
Correct. And we've lost that a little bit because now the kids are making all the money and, we're losing some legends like, Saban and others. I want the famous, somewhat borderline mean coach.
The exact same play.
So I'll take it. Right to your phone call, 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's that?
Hey, Grant, BVT. Great call with the Badger stuff earlier. I think you made great points. Nothing really to say on that end. But with the Doug Gottlieb rant, I think baseball, I guess a little now, and college basketball for sure is like the last frontier for just amazing coaching personalities.
I like
that. Because NBA is super transactional. I can only tell you maybe 5 off the top of my head. NFL is starting to get that way slightly, but it's a better storyline league, so like everyone kind of knows everybody. But I just appreciate that from Doug Gottlieb, just keeping the trend going, especially when we're losing guys. So curious your thoughts of what you think on that.
No, I think that's great. We're losing recipes, BVT. I appreciate the call. And I found Friday night's win especially impressive. I mean, anytime you beat number 10 as an unranked squad, as the Badgers were, now they're 24th in the AP as of today. And anytime you beat number 10, it's impressive. But I thought BVT made a great point last week. It was like the happiest person in the world after Wisconsin beat Illinois on the road had to be Tom Izzo, because you think you get the letdown spot. Maybe not at home, although sometimes I think it's easier to let down at home because you're at home, you're relaxed. I think, again, those comments from BVT last week made me think that win's especially impressive. I hate that we're losing character coaches. I think we get it in college basketball a little bit. We still have Dan Hurley, Izzo. The thing is, Guard and Painter are such just members of the old guard now of the Big Ten, but neither one are explosive. I wish Fran McCaffrey was still at Iowa. Beeline was never explosive, but he felt that way at Michigan. Although give it another year, 2 or 3, like what Dusty May's doing at Michigan, he might get there. We'll see. And I think part of that coaching, I don't know, personality, that edge comes with the back and forth of playing the refs. And you're still having it in college basketball. The NBA just none of the games in the regular season feel like they're that important. So you lose it a little bit. Football, you're right, it's transactional. I think fewer and fewer coaches are personalities and more just scheme lords, offensive and defensive gurus. So you lose a little bit of, now Belichick was a scheme lord, but it felt like he was bigger than that. I'm trying to think of big personality coaches from my lifetime, hot heads. Football, it just seems, again, like every storyline is important. College basketball might be the last frontier, and we're losing them. We're losing guys. We lost Coach K. Cal's at Arkansas. It doesn't feel the same. We're losing recipes again. But Gottlieb, I appreciate it. We need a little bit of that in the horizon.
I need the league to explain to me why I got a technical foul when I did not curse.
I did not curse.
I was not demonstrative.
I was not demonstrative.
I did not leave my box.
I did not leave my box. I love how he outlined it like a true sports talk radio host, hitting his bullet points. Wisco Sports Show. Who's us?
Grant, you're on today. Wow. No days off for you, huh?
Kiss my rear end. By the way, I'm going to be off next Monday because Bill and I have to travel to the combine. Not my choice. I'm at the mercy of Bill's travel schedule, unless I want to drive myself, which I don't want to do. So this week. You're lucky I'm on it all. First things first is hosted by Parkins and Filipponi today. I saw Middlecoff was in for McIntyre on Cowherd. Everyone's taking this week off. So.
Well, it's a holiday for maybe probably half the listeners.
That's true.
Really interesting who gets today off and who doesn't. I got today off, but I am salaried, so there's no days off. It's a trap. If you ever get the offer, say no. Say no.
Are you a government? Are you a public sector worker? I didn't think you were.
No, but my company's based in D.C. and without getting overly political, Grant, there's some benefits to that.
All right,
right?
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Right.
If my company were based in Texas, it probably wouldn't be off today.
That's true.
So we're off.
That's a good point. Well, what'd you call? Sorry to belabor this little bit of small talk we had. Vagabond John, what's up?
No, it's good. You were on fire. I think Badger Bites Tracker was right on. You were in your bag, and I love the puzzle analogy. I didn't know you were a puzzle guy. We're learning some more Grant lore. We dabble in the puzzle realm in our household as well. So good to hear fellow sports and puzzles. Good match. Keep that up.
Thank you.
One further bit, I guess, zooming out a little bit in college football or basketball, and we can make a football crossover because what else do I do on calls? Make unreasonable crossovers. Greg Gard was on the hot seat a couple of years back, probably off after last year in the Tanji experience, but like a lot of assumptions being made. He's been around a while. He's not going to be able to handle the portal era. And I made the comment in the football side, I think Wisconsin is better positioned now to win a national championship than they have ever been at any point that national championships were played for, not voted on, right? Same is true for basketball. We are in a position where we have a very well-established program. We have a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a complementary basketball program. We make a lot of the Nebraska references on the football side of like, oh, if you want to really go down, right, fire your guy. You could be like Nebraska, right? On the basketball side, we have it with Oregon, right? And Oregon has unlimited NIL assets.
Yep.
But you look at the way Dana Altman, by the way, would put him right up there in the Big Ten if Oregon was there longer, right? He's just been a well-oiled machine. That Oregon program won 25 games last year. They've been really, really good for a long time, right, under Dana Altman. This year, they're like 2-12 in the Big Ten. It's their worst season in decades. And it's all because of NIL and the portal and how their institution views college athletics. And so one thing that I respect about Greg Gard, respect about this athletic department, is they're not necessarily sacrificing a lot of what made them great. They didn't go chase down the former five-star player like Oregon did. They put all of their money into a five-star transfer from Ohio State. Dude doesn't pan out. Dude is average because you can't really predict these kind of things when athletes make a jump. And he's not great. And now all of a sudden they have zero roster depth. One other player gets hurt and their whole season crumbles.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Gard built a team where it's like Austin Rapp is in the top 10 in the last week in scoring per game in the Big Ten, right? Wisconsin's got 3 players. Nolan Winter's not even up there, but he certainly has the impact, right? You have impact up and down. You have Jack Janicki coming in for Biliauskas because Jack Janicki's a more physical paint defender.
Yeah.
He's a guard. Right, so the way that Greg Gard has built this roster and kind of, I think he's bulletproof in the portal era. I'm really excited to see how it kind of progresses over time. It's going to take lightning in a bottle to make another Final Four stretch because college basketball has, 27-year-old NBA players in it now. But Greg Gard's the right guy for the job. Greg Gard continues to impress from the portal era, and teams like Oregon, with all the money in the world, are still finding ways to just end in colossal disaster. So that's a little bit of a zoomed out view of how Greg Gard's fitting into the NL era.
And another tough night for the Fire Guard card. Vagabond John, that's another good call. I appreciate it. I didn't realize how bad of a season Oregon was having. I was looking at the standings. I said, what happened? It's Dana Altman. He unlocks Rubik's Cubes or whatever Rothstein always tweets about him. I didn't realize they were having that bad of a season. Vagabond, you point out, there's 27-year-olds playing college basketball now. I think Wisconsin has taken advantage of that last year more so than ever. Crowell, McGee, Tanjay, who is old, not just old, but old. Tanjay, McGee, I think there's one that I'm forgetting about. But Klesmet, they got Boyd this year. Now they got some youth too. Bielowskis starting, and I think his and Rapp, right, getting better and handling the physicality better as the season goes along. I don't like spending time in February talking about what could or couldn't happen in March. I don't find that to be interesting. And I think I pointed that out last week because now that Wisconsin's won a couple games, the question that's asked in every radio interview and every, written in every story is, this is a team that has to be taken seriously in March. I kind of take them all seriously. I don't take any one more or less seriously than the last. Because when Johnny Davis was here, it's like, well, they got that guy. You never know. Last year with Tanjay, I think had they not played BYU, they might have won another game or two, and they still almost beat BYU, even playing poorly. So I just don't find the March look ahead to be interesting at all in February. These games are the treat to me. Now, March Madness is a treat as well. But in the NBA, we're watching all these games thinking how they project. In college basketball, I don't like skipping over the Michigan State win or the Illinois win to talk about what could or couldn't happen in March. We'll deal with that when we get there. And if they lose before they should, then we'll hammer them and we'll criticize them. But I'm not doing that now. And I'm not yelling at you, Vagabond John. That's just a point that I wanted to make tonight. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Yeah, it's Darnell.
Hey, Darnell, what's up?
Hey, I think it was 2 callers ago, right at the top of the hour there.
Good radio.
He was talking about the last bastion or whatever of true sports or whatever, however you want to word that.
I think bastion is good. I think that's a good word. I like that.
College basketball. I was recently told by one of my friends that I'm stupid for watching college basketball in, quote, January because nothing matters until March. And that's just such an ass take. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I watched a game. Was it Saturday? I think it was Saturday. Arizona against Texas Tech. One of the best college basketball games I've watched in 5 years.
Yep.
And it happened on February 14th.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you see this kind of thing like every other night. Especially this season. This season's been fantastic from a college basketball standpoint. But now we get to actually enjoy it a little bit more because the Badgers are kind of back, and
never left.
Makes
baby.
me like, well,
for about a month and a half,
it
was akin to Jordan Love maybe not being good for about a month there in his rookie year. Like we had about a month with the Badgers this year where we thought they might not be good, but that was about it. Now we're back. Yeah.
Right. That December was rough. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
I mean, really, since then they've been one of the better teams in the NCAA, and their metrics are improving to the point where all the analytics nerds are like, yeah, see, actually, this is going to be a giant killer come March and a Cinderella team for your bracket. I keep seeing that on Twitter. I'm like, okay, they're also Wisconsin sports team. So, you kind of take the good with the bad when that comes. But when it comes to March, last year, I expected a tough game from Montana. And that was a 3 versus 14 matchup.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And it was for all intents and purposes.
Exactly.
It was.
So nothing is given in the sport, which is why I think it's probably the best postseason of any major sport. Just like March Madness gets me going in ways that no other sport playoffs can really do, besides maybe the NFL when the Packers are good. But March Madness across the board, that 4-day period, Thursday to Sunday, is at the very beginning of March Madness is probably peak for me. So I'm looking forward to it. And now, I mean, if the Badgers continue to win and, God forbid they win out, they could be a 5 or a 4 seed. Who knows? Anything can happen.
Their only elite opponent, Darnell, good call. The only elite opponent remaining is their finale against Purdue. I'm with you on the meaning of the regular season. People who don't watch college basketball until March Madness. I'm having a stroke. Excuse me. Now, if you don't have a team, I get it because there's a bajillion games and there's a bajillion conferences. So if you don't have a dog in the fight, it's really hard to know enough players. It's hard to reach critical mass to the point where you know enough players, know enough coaches, know enough programs. This team's having a good year. This team's having a bad year to assign meaning and to invest emotion into games. If you don't have a team, you don't have a team. So yeah, you don't need a team for March Madness. You maybe need a team for February, but if you have a team, like last Tuesday night, one time slot, Wisconsin and Illinois are playing, and then another time slot, Purdue and Nebraska are going to overtime. Yeah, college basketball is great. And folks, Wisconsin needs to get out of the first weekend of the tournament. I'm not ignoring. I hear that from you guys all the time. I hear you. I see you. I understand you. I did not cuss. I was not demonstrative. I did not leave my box. Do not pass go. Do not collect $1,000 or whatever it is. I get it. I do.
Technical foul.
Yes.
When I did not curse. I was not demonstrative. I did not leave my box.
I get it. They do need to get out of the first round of the playoffs. One of the things that is important to me, and I try to reference during the show, like part of the joy of college basketball is the massive home game against Michigan State, is the road game against BYU. Like these games matter. They're not win or go home, but they play into the conference standings and the seedings, which matter. Doesn't necessarily matter in the NBA. You're not tracking the regular season conference standings or conference tournament standings or seedings. Like this stuff matters. So I am not someone who obsesses over, man, this team looks like they could do something in March, because I'll worry about that when March comes. Here's a Polzine asking Boyd about just that, though, about how good you guys can be.
Nick, winning back-to-back games like this and stacking those types of impressive wins, what do you think that says about how good you guys might end up being?
Man, like I always say, we shoot like that, ain't no team in the country that can beat us. So, stay confident as always. And I just think that's what it is. Like, it's the confidence, man. You see Ozzy coming down the court with that type of confidence, ready to pull the trigger. Nolan, JB, like, it's just too much. It's too much. I don't even know. It's too much.
So we can continue to talk Badgers, but I am almost a religious. I am a member and follower and listener of Sports Talk Radio almost to a religious level. And today is a very important day on the Sports Talk Radio calendar. There's a very important topic we must hit, and we'll do it next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
First up from the San Antonio Spurs, Carter Bryant. All the stars are out. Next up, a 6-foot, 1-inch guard from the Orlando Magic, Chase Richardson. All the stars are here. All the stars are here.
It's true.
And now, from the Miami Heat, Keyshawn Johnson. All the stars are here. Bobby McFerrin just showed up.
Some sound from the introductions, the dunk contest on Saturday night. And that's Norm Macdonald. I mixed that together just mostly to make myself laugh. There's maybe 2 people listening who know that reference. I just love that bit. All the stars are here. Which, of course, is what you say sarcastically when none of the stars are here because nobody does the dunk contest. Before we went to this last break, welcome back, by the way, I said this is a very important day on the Sports Talk Radio calendar. And I'm a Wisconsin sports fan. I'm a radio host. But first and foremost, before all of that, I am a religious listener and follower of Sports Talk Radio. And Sports Talk Radio has its own calendar. Some things that just must be done, should be done, needed to be done every year. And one of the things that's non-negotiable, I almost led the show with this back at 4 o'clock. You need to talk about the NBA All-Star Weekend, how it wasn't good, and how it needs to be fixed. Gotta fix it. How do we fix the NBA All-Star Game? How do we change the format? How do we fix the dunk contest? How do we make it better?
All the stars are out.
All the stars are here.
All the stars are here. Bobby McFerrin just showed up.
Again, that sound is just for me. Thank you for hearing me. This is the day, historically on Sports Talk Radio, everyone goes on television, everyone goes on TV. Talk about how, can you believe the All-Star Game was such an embarrassment? It was 220 to 198. Can you believe it? How can we fix it? And then on Sports Talk Radio, we talk about it for a day or two, and then nobody ever cares about it again. And then in a year, we do the same thing. That's what you do on Sports Talk Television. I actually thought the All-Star Game last night was fine. I watched the second half. I'll be honest with you. I didn't really understand the format. I know they're doing U.S. versus world, and that led to some good, little rivalries and competitions. I think that's smart. I think that's good. I didn't really understand the format, but I didn't really look into it because honestly, I forgot it was on. I was watching hockey and I was watching the Olympics, and then I watched the end of Daytona, and they're like, oh yeah, that's right. The All-Star Game was on. And pardon me that I forgot because it's not like the dunk contest on Saturday night. It was a very strong lead-in.
All the stars are here. All the stars are here.
All the stars are here. We have, I can't even remember the names of the guys who were doing the dunk contest. I know Jackson Hayes was there. He felt like a superstar, not like a Chris Sims, Malik Willis superstar, but in the context of the dunk contest, a superstar.
All the stars are out.
All the stars are out, every single one. I thought the dunk contest was I think they need to get rid of this thing. Here's Bill Simmons. I cut this sound. Bill Simmons and Zach Lowe on their podcast last night.
They just can't figure it out past the 3-point contest. To me, the number one cry for help is that VJ Edgecombe didn't want to be in the dunk contest. It makes me think they shouldn't have it.
I think this is a great point. VJ Edgecombe is a rookie, I believe. This is either his first or second year. Very promising young player, very athletic, good bounce, good dunker. That should be the player that you want. Young, explosive dunk, like a young Ja Morant, a young VJ Edgecombe. Those are the guys who should be like, get me in there. I can be good at this. I can make a name for myself. And if he's not doing it, I think it's a great thermometer, a great point from Bill Simmons, who might just be re-apexing post-Russillo, but we can talk about that at a different time.
because we've had John Morant not want to be in it. We've had Zion not want to be in it. And now VJ Edgecombe. And if I'm like VJ Edgecombe's manager, I would want him to be in it. It's like, dude, go kill this dunk contest. It's going to be worth like $10 million in sponsors for us. Go do some awesome dunks, but people have just punted on it. So I don't know why they have it.
I thought the dunk contest was good. The problem is that no one other than crazy diehard fans has heard of anybody in the dunk contest.
I don't know that that's true. I thought all the stars were
All
there.
the stars are out.
I just love, again, it's mostly just for me. I just think that sounds so funny.
All the stars are here.
All the stars are here. The 3-point contest, whatever. Dame Lillard did it? I find Dame Lillard as a post-Bucks career to be such an interesting player. I can't decide if I like him and respect him. Part of me lost a lot of respect when he tucked tail and went back to Portland, and it's like, no, I'm not going to play this year, but he's doing the 3-point contest. Okay. I don't really care about the All-Star game. I didn't care about it in the past when it was bad. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm sitting in the catbird seat post NBA All-Star game today, because the last couple of years when it was bad, when it was horrible, and everyone was going on the air the next day and say, we need to fix it. How do we fix it? I would come on the air and say, I don't really care. It can suck. I don't think less of the league because the All-Star game is bad. People were hanging it around Adam Silver's neck as some dark mark. The commissioner who couldn't get the All-Star game right. I don't care. It's like I've been rewatching Thrones, and one of Robb Stark's men is like, the king who lost the North. Like, Adam Silver's supposed to be the commissioner who failed because he couldn't get the All-Star game. I don't care about the All-Star game. Just a big wasted time. It's TV entertainment for a slow sports weekend. Throw it on in the background. Do a puzzle. That's what I did. Actually, very night well spent. So I do not look at the All-Star game as a dark mark for the commissioner. Maybe the dark mark for the players involved. Like, have some shame, fellas. Come on. The dunk contest, I feel like they should just get rid of. Now, Adam Silver did speak to the media over the All-Star break. I cut about 55 seconds of something that, speaking of things I don't care about, here's another thing.
AI is changing everything about our personal lives.
He said AI, if you didn't catch that.
AI is changing everything about our personal lives, our business lives. I mean, for me, there's no doubt that AI will have the same impact on sports. And one area in particular that I think it's worth addressing is impact on the fan experience, how we're going to be able to, more than personalize, almost hyper personalize our telecasts and allowing people to experience the game in any way they want. In essence, you'll be able to hear the game in any dialect, any language. You'll be able to hear a hardcore X's and O's commentary, maybe one that's more comedic if that's what you're interested, or somebody for a novice explaining each foul and the rules as it goes along. And so to me, we're about to witness probably the most significant change, certainly in my lifetime, in how sports are presented.
So here's Adam Silver talking about the broadcasts and how they will be impacted. You'll be able to hear them in any dialect. You'll be able to, if you want a comedic commentary, you'll be able to have that. If you want a broadcast tailored only for the new fan who needs everything explained to them, you'll be able to have that. I have two thoughts on that whole thought process. One being, we kind of already have that. There's a rules analyst on every broadcast, and there's an alternative cast with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett in a basement. There's the Manning cast. We already have the comedic side quest. We don't need AI for that. We already have that. So my first thought on Adam Silver's AI master plan is we already have the things that you're saying that we're going to have. And also, and this cannot be understated and is my number one and really only complaint about the NBA. Adam, what if the games stink? What if the basketball games aren't good? Newsflash, if that's the case, I don't care what the broadcast is because I'm not going to watch. I don't know why I'm yelling. I don't care about the broadcast. I don't care what network it's on. John Tesh's song is cool. If it's the lead into a basketball game that doesn't feature all of the stars and they're not trying, then I don't care. Because in the end, I am watching for the basketball game. That is why I'm turning on the game. That is why I'm going to Peacock or to Amazon or to wherever else. They're Amazon, Peacock, and I guess NBC, Peacock, same thing. Some games on ESPN. That's why I'm going to these broadcasts, is because there's a basketball game. And if the basketball game stinks, I got to tell you, Commissioner Silver, I don't really care the dialect or the comedic stylings of the broadcast. I just don't care.
Any dialect, any language, you'll be able to hear a hardcore X's and O's commentary.
We already have that.
That's more comedic, if that's what you're interested in.
We already have that.
Somebody for
nobody watches them
explaining, each foul.
We already have that. Steve Javi's on every broadcast. He adds nothing
as it goes along. And so to me, we're about to witness probably the most significant change, certainly in my lifetime, in how sports are presented.
Can I just give you don't have to agree with this. You can be like, Grant, stick to sports. I'm not about to get political on you. Can I just take this opportunity to say one thing about AI? Every interview that I listen to, and a lot of the content that I consume is sports, but I do occasionally listen to other things. I'm not like friggin' Joe Rogan where I listen and read everything, but just I consume a lot of content. And there seems to be this prevailing idea that the presence of AI is going to revolutionize. It's going to change fundamentally everything that we're doing, and it's going to make it so better. I think there are some specific parts of life and business and industry that we can stand to benefit a little bit from the use of AI. The rest of it, I just don't buy. And maybe I'm the idiot hayseed from the Midwest who doesn't realize that his own job is about to go away. And maybe my job is going away without AI. Like, I don't know. Maybe we don't need AI to get rid of this job. I'm on terrestrial radio in 2026. That's beside the point. Like, maybe I'm the idiot and I don't understand that the world is passing me by. I just, in so many of these instances, do not buy what they're selling with AI. I think a lot of these AI companies are just dumping ideas left, right, and center and drawing these grand illusions of what AI is going to do for us because they need the funding to keep coming. Just this soundbite, Adam saying, well, we'll have a comedic broadcast for those who are interested. Even if I want that, and no one does, I know that because we try them all the time and they never stick. Even if we want a comedic broadcast, I don't want it coming from a robot. I want it coming from an actual comedian who's a human, who I know. And also, the darkest and grossest part of this soundbite is the first comment he makes.
AI is changing everything about our personal lives.
Can I please respectfully say something to all of you? If AI is fundamentally changing your personal lives, and by this I mean not like, oh, I have an app that makes it really easy to do this. I'm talking about the way you relate to your friends and coworkers and loved ones and neighbors. If AI is fundamentally changing your personal life, you need to put your phone away. You need to get off that thing. You need to spend less time on the internet and less time plugging things into apps. I think AI, yes, it's going to do a lot of things. I don't buy half of the things that we're told it's going to do. And I don't trust these tech people. Secondary, maybe Mad Max will call us and lecture us on that. But
AI is changing everything about our personal lives.
God, I hope not, man. My personal life, the thing about personal life is it includes people, real ones, not artificial people, real ones with real brains. So All-Star break was fine. It's always been fine. Who cares? I don't think a commissioner is made or broken by the quality of their All-Star game. But this is dark. Adam, how can you get the players to play and try? Can we do that? How can you better service the ticket buying, television watching fan instead of dreaming about some AI broadcast that's going to, what if you want to see it from a player's point of view? Then I'll go play. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll go shoot a real basketball at a real hoop. Just an idea. So just a little bit of, again, reaction to All-Star Weekend. A little bit of a potpourri. A comment on the live stream says, I'm still rocking a flip phone. Sometimes I wish I could. Man, life was simple. And everyone got where they were supposed to go. No one ever got lost. I could call my parents. I could text my friends. That's all we ever It's all we ever needed. Okay, we'll take a break, come back, reset the show. A Packers take, a Badgers basketball take. I can also give you a thought or two on the Olympics. Why not? I watched a little bit of that this weekend. So we'll be right back. The Monday Mailbag, about 15 minutes away. So submit your questions, grantbills21@gmail.com.
All the stars are here. All the stars are here.
It's true.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. We got the Monday Mailbag in about 10 minutes. This final segment, before we get there, we could do a little potpourri. We could hit anything we've missed so far. We've done Badgers basketball. We've done the obligatory annual NBA All-Star Weekend review on Sports Talk Radio, the Monday after All-Star Weekend every year. I don't make the rules. That's how it works. Talked a little bit about Chris Sims and what he had to say about God, I can't believe he said that, man. That is wild to me. He said, I think Malik Willis is a superstar. Okay, dude. Whatever. So we had all that. I'll get to some remaining texts, and we're going to take one phone call here in the meantime before we get to the mailbag. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Well, Grant, I heard my name invoked in the last segment in another conversation about AI, so felt like I had to call in from the tunnels once again.
Mad Max in the tunnels under Racine. I feel sometimes there's a disconnect. I'm listening to the NBA commissioner say, well, AI has completely changed our personal lives. You know this, and we're going to have all sorts of broadcast. I don't buy it. I understand that this stuff is powerful, and I have no doubt it's going to make life easier and it's going to be able to do things. I think some of these people running tech companies are selling us a little bit of a bill of goods because I don't know, man. This reminds me of the Google glasses. They're going to change everything. And it's like, no. Some of this stuff just doesn't stick like the tech people wants it to stick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and you heard the conversation between me and Ebo this morning talking about the lizard people and the reptilians. I mean, if you really want to try and convince people that our government and like our main institutions are run by the reptilians, Adam Silver is probably one of the best cases you can make. I mean, just look at him and just listen to him speak. I mean, people like him have no ability to relate to normal human emotions or thoughts. And just listening to him talk was just some of the most out of touch thoughts I've ever heard from a commissioner. I mean, I think that's worse than anything Manfred has even said. And I find it interesting how Adam Silver seems to escape a lot of the criticism that Manfred gets.
And Goodell, people love to hate on Goodell, but that league just hums, man. Like Goodell takes it all the time.
Yeah, and I think with basketball, I think baseball fans kind of have higher standards. I think they care more about the game, so they're louder when there's things that are going on. Whereas I think NBA just kind of takes in a lot of casual viewers who aren't as diehard as baseball fans. I mean, that's just kind of my opinion. But yeah, but anyways, and your take about the All-Star game, I know you kind of said that wasn't a big deal, but I kind of disagree. Like, I think All-Star weeks are a big reflection on the sport. Like, I remember when I was a kid and like the All-Star weekend was a lot of fun. Like, my friends and I would go over to my house or someone else's house. We'd have our own dunk contest out in the driveway. Then we'd go in and watch all the skills competition. And it felt like a big deal, but it's just, I think in every other sport, aside from baseball, it just feels like everything is so watered down and it's just a shell of its former self. And I think that's kind of a microcosm of society as a whole with where we're going with this AI revolution.
How can we streamline this and sponsor that? And I'm with you. Well, and I think a problem in the NBA is a lot of these players feel as though they're above it. Like I played that sound from Bill Simmons and Zach Lowe. I think it's a good point. If VJ Edgecombe feels like he's above the dunk contest, then the thing's cooked. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's just an NBA culture problem in general. A lot of these guys think they're above playing like on a random Tuesday night in January because of load management. I mean, like 20, 30 years ago, these guys used to play every night. And, you know, and I just think I get the whole load management thing. You want to rest guys for the playoffs, but, you know, but then that just waters down the regular season and makes it hard to watch. Like as long as the baseball regular season is, I still feel like a Tuesday night game in May is important for the Brewers, at least important enough to tune in and get emotionally invested in it. But I don't feel that way with the Bucks playing like on a weeknight in January anymore.
It's especially important if they lose. You know what I mean? If they lose, it's a catastrophe. If they win, we've just, we've stayed the course for a day. But those games are especially important if they lose. I just and to conclude, Max, with you, I just listened to those comments from Adam Silver. It's like, dude, if you're worried about custom broadcasts using AI, you're just missing the point. You're missing the culture problem in your league. You're missing the disconnect between the people trying to watch on TV, the people paying for tickets. I'm with you. I think he escapes criticism. I think Rob Manfred's a better commissioner than him. Yeah, but people don't pick on Silver publicly like they do on the other commissioners.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think Goodell gets away with so much more than all the other commissioners too, just because the NFL feels kind of untouchable. But
yeah,
I don't know if that's going to last forever. Like I think might be some cracks where, showing with this new AI revolution where they're not going to be able to get away with as much anymore, but we'll see. But yeah, as of now, NFL is still king.
Well, and I think part of that, Mad Max, that's a good call. Appreciate it. Part of it is these international games. When we talk about how everything's being corporatized and everything's being sponsored and everything's being driven for expansion. And, why do you think the NBA would have interest, by the way, in broadcasting in other languages? It's not necessarily a bad thing. Because reaching more audiences, if there's a way for someone overseas to watch a basketball, I'm not saying that it's inherently a bad thing. But what do you think the driving focus is behind wanting to get broadcasts in another language without having to hire broadcast teams and broadcast networks to do it? What could possibly be the driving force that the NBA would want? So they can ship the games over to China and make billions off of that. Just like James Harden goes over there, all those guys go over there and they tour and they play games in the offseason because there's a huge fan base over there. So you're telling me we can pipe in a broadcast using AI to make it consumable for the Chinese? Of course. And it's the same thing with the NFL. Now let's get games in Australia and let's get Bad Bunny at the halftime show, which again, I don't think it's wrong to play a game in Australia. I don't think it's wrong to have Bad Bunny, but it's all of these little pieces are strung together in a pattern of behavior of we want to grow the game through international expansion, through sponsorship, through everything's corporatized, the All-Star games and the Pro Bowl and all that stuff. And it gives fans an icky feeling. And I don't think the NFL is ever going to crumble off its pedestal to what Mad Max was saying. But I do wonder at a certain point what fans start to just get turned off. Probably some, but we love football so much. It's not going to be anything sizable anytime soon. But I do wonder. The Monday Mailbag, your questions, all topics for consideration. GrantBills21@gmail.com. We'll wrap up the show with that next.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisco.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Because the mail never stops. Charles, I've been writing to you.
She's got mail. That's the name of the movie.
That's it, honey. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you got to get it up. And the more you get up, the more it keeps coming in.
The Monday Mailbag. All questions and topics for your consideration. Everything's on the table. GrantBills21 at gmail.com. Email anytime. I love when I start getting emails on Sunday night or Monday morning. People are ready. Tyler in Massachusetts, frequent question asker, frequent live stream commenter, says, hi, Grant. Happy President's Day. Grant, from a place where there's no school whatsoever as it's winter break, and no one went to work today as the streets of Boston were completely empty, which U.S. president would make the best coach or manager for any Wisconsin sports team, and why? Tyler from Massachusetts. I don't know that I have a great answer for this. I think the best thing that I can come up with. I'll give you two. I think George Bush, the younger one. It's George H.W. Bush and then just George Bush, right? I think would just be a great baseball manager. I buy the people who say that George Bush was born to be the commissioner of Major League Baseball, but cursed to be president of the United States. I do buy that. I believe that. So George Bush as the owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, as the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, or commissioner of baseball. One answer that came to mind. And before any of you can text or comment, he's a war criminal. It's a fun topic. Shut up. So George Bush, I think, related to baseball. And also Richard Nixon for coach of the Packers. Because they got a Kennedy right now, and it's not going so great. Oh, he's handsome. Everything's fast and loose, and it feels great. Look at us. No, they don't need JFK. They need Nixon. So Nixon to coach the current Packers, I think would shape them up. Jacob emails in. Have you been watching the new Game of Thrones series, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms? I enjoy that it doesn't waste half of the screen time on characters I don't care about, like so many current TV series do. I have not. I will at some point, because I really like Thrones. And actually, I've been watching a lot of Thrones content. I'm between streaming services right now. I have Peacock to watch sports, and that's about it. So HBO will be the one that I get when I pick streaming services back up. And maybe this would have been worth it. Maybe I should have got it for Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Mad Men's also back on there, I believe, which I would love to rewatch. I think I would like to watch that show. What I've been watching, to my original point, is Thrones on YouTube. Just lore stuff, like dragons, like just stuff from the books. The Doom of Valyria. Stuff like that. Not like I'm not committing hours of my day to it, but, laying in bed before sleep, taking a dump, that sort of thing. Thomas in La Crosse says, good afternoon, Grant. I was quite impressed with the NBA All-Star Weekend. What did you think of All-Star Weekend? Players actually played with some serious competitiveness. Yes, they did. I will reprise what Justin Garcia said earlier today, which is like, okay, so this one was good. What about, next? Like, is this just a one-off after 4 or 5 years of everyone completely bullying and shaming the players, and they're finally like, geez, all right, damn, we'll try 1 year. If this is going to be repeated next year and this is going to be the new thing, sure. I'm not anti 3-point contests and dunk contests. It's just a matter of taste. I'm going to watch something else, or I'm going to do something else. Dunk contests, if they can't get anybody that we know to do it, what's the point? All the stars are here, and it's guys I've never heard of. Goose Eggs, Lee and Westby says, I was wondering if during your encounter with Nick Boyd, he made the same face and gestures at you that he does after he bangs a three. Also, did you patch things up with him, or do you still have to walk around Madison with your head on a swivel? Don't tell people that we don't. What happened was I was out on State Street with Kate and Austin, and we were in a group that then was joined by Nick Boyd and was it Rhodey? I can't remember who there was another basketball player. And I had a couple, so I tried to sneak a little picture because I was trying to send a picture to Zach. It's like, look who Kate's chatting up. And Nick Boyd saw, and he didn't do it. He was just like, come on. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'll delete it. I sent it to Zach. Sorry, bro. I forgot the sidewalk in front of the W is a holy sanctum. Don't flatter yourself. I don't know how to answer your question, Lee. He also says, thanks. Appreciate your show on the air and at the Stockyard. I did see Lee at the Stockyard in Coon Valley on Friday night. Played some music. It was very fun. Had a very good time. One other thing, not in the mailbag. That's the last question. One other thing, I tweeted about this earlier today because I have been watching the Olympics. If I have to watch Jeremy Swayman in goal again, I'm going to be frustrated. Another Olympics thing, how is it that there's just curling going on all the time? I'm not anti-curling, but some of these events, like the snowboarding, was done in what felt like an hour. They've been curling nonstop for what feels like a week and a half. Every time I open Peacock, it's like curling. It's live. It's going on right now. It's like the Olympics version of World Poker Tour. You ever fall asleep during Brewers Live and then you wake up and World Poker Tour's on? What used to be Fox Sports Wisconsin, then Bally Sports Wisconsin, then turned FanDuel Wisconsin. Now it's just Brewers TV or whatever it's going to be. Like curling is the Olympics version of World Poker Tour, or Due North Outdoors. Although I think that's a pretty solid program myself. I enjoy Due North Outdoors. I like the regional outdoors show. I'm a fan. I also like In-Depth Outdoors, although I don't know if they're still doing that. They have good ice fishing content. It's much more fun to watch videos of people go ice fishing than it is to actually go ice fishing. And if you're like, Grant, shut up, ice fishing's great. Yeah, I'd go tomorrow if I had friends who wanted to go. But let's be real. You go ice fishing 5 times. How many times are you actually going to have a day where you're like, we caught fish, man? Like 1, maybe. And you're going to spend how much on propane and minnows? And you're going to dump how many of those minnows out? So, yeah, not anti-ice fishing. I would rather watch people who are good at it. So I'll watch Due North Outdoors. I'll watch In-Depth Outdoors. I'm starting to run out of appetite for curling. Although yesterday, and Peacock does a pretty good job, they'll whip it around and show you all the things. I watched some speed skating, and I was really pulling for that Dutch lady. And then it showed that Logan Paul is engaged her. I'm like, oh, gross. Good for her. Well, good luck with that for her. So I watched a little speed skating. I watched a little long slalom, Michaela Schifrin, and that Italian lady who snapped her leg like within the last year, looked pretty good. And I watched the doubles figure skating. And before you're like, oh, that's come on, Grant, figure really figure skating. I tell you what, it's impressive. Look, I would have watched if there was a football game on, I'd watch that instead, but there was nothing going on. So I watched the doubles just because that's what Peacock, I just threw on the feed, and Peacock was feeding me the doubles figure skating. And I tell you what, both genders of the doubles, very impressive. But what I was thinking, the men, they're on ice skates and they're just picking this lady up with one arm and they're throwing her in a spiral like 25 feet. It's impressive. It's an impressive feat. Is it a little? Sure, but it's the Winter Olympics. What do you want? It's either that or curling. And I've had enough of curling. They're probably curling right now. I don't think they've stopped. It's 24/7. Tomorrow, we'll pick this up. More curling talk because I got to get home and